No pregame chit chat. We'll go right to the good stuff.
That's right. Sometimes you miss the good, sweet, intimate stuff that's
I
talked
know.
about. So we're going in hot, just like you said. I'm Melinda McKinsey.
I'm Tom Wise.
Thanks for unpacking some shit with us.
It's like they say, like, Letterman or Carson or Leno, they wouldn't necessarily talk to the guests before the show because they don't want to burn up all their chit chat. So I'm like Leno.
Do you think we would burn up our chit chat though, Tom? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. It's like we've got an unending pool. I mean, we've done this 37 shows so far.
Yeah.
And yes, the microphone's back to where it was. However, I have it on a slight angle.
It's definitely at a slight angle. I think we should make it a drinking game. How many times you touch it or move it?
I think it's done. I think this is where when this whole setup goes in the Smithsonian, this is the set. This is the house gonna be. Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, so today is it Wednesday? It's Wednesday, right? Is it Monday?
No, it's Monday.
Fuck me, it's Monday. It was a long weekend. Damn it. I did a couple shows this morning and it was such a long weekend. It does not feel like a Monday to me at all.
That's crazy. It's the pandemic. You don't know what day it is.
You don't.
Hang on, I got to make one more adjustment for the Smithsonian.
Oh, he touched it. Take a shot. That's all right.
It's like 3 inches too short. That's what she said.
Oh, we never want to hear that.
Yeah, this thing. So can I tell you something I'm learning about plants?
Yes, please.
Some plants need a lot of water. Okay. I mean, back when you were a kid, like you water something, you kind of dance the hose over something, and you can consider it water. This beast takes about a half a gallon of water a day. And you don't put a half a gallon in there. I mean, it's dry right now. Tomorrow it would start to fade. And then I've got a tomato plant out there, and I've got a pepper plant out there, and I have another pepper plant out there. One's hot, one's sweet. A tomato plant will take a gallon of water a day. Do you believe that?
You're a farmer.
Nuts.
You're a farmer.
I mean, I have one of those self-watering things. Is this a brilliant? Because my problem was always watering too much.
Yeah.
Or watering not enough.
Yeah.
And then you talk to somebody and go, well, I go, what if it's got yellow leaves? Well, yellow leaves is an indication that it's not getting enough water. Right. I'm watering it like crazy. Well, it also means you're watering it too much too. So the same, the same indicator is both ends of the spectrum. So that doesn't give you any information. But they've got these these self-watering planters now. I don't know if you've seen it, where you have got your standard planter, right?
Okay.
And then you put in this base that sits on little legs inside the planter.
Okay.
So now you've created a gap of about 1 inch on the bottom of the plant, inside the planter, and you've got a little hole that's elevated a little bit. So now you can put water in that hole, fills up the reservoir, and the roots of the plant will eventually make it to that water and then start drawing up the water that it needs. And then if it doesn't need water, it won't, and then you're not saturating the roots in too much water. It's brilliant.
Our show is now Green Acres.
Shit, I gave the tip of the day.
You gave the tip of the day. It's okay. You know what? We'll make
the box.
We'll make the tip of the day something sexy.
Anyway, I was filling up that reservoir with so much water when my tomatoes were growing. It was insane. I'm going, there's no way I would pour this much water in a plant.
Right.
It was sucking it up like a sponge.
I'm not good with plants. My mom and my grandma were always really good with plants. When we first moved into the house, we bought a bunch of plants. And we're so excited. We looked at the angles, north, south, east, west. Who needs sun?
Yeah.
They're all dead. They're all dead. We bought extra special soil. Oh, you have mites. Oh, put this in. I've spent thousands of dollars on plants that are dead. So I'm not doing that anymore.
It does make a difference, north, south, east, or west. I bought the seagrass. You see it at the beach, kind of seagrass.
Okay. Yes.
They get something, they call it something else, like plantation grass or whatever. So I bought a bunch of it for around the pool.
Okay.
The horses enjoy eating. And then I bought a bunch of it for around the air conditioner, which the donkeys enjoyed eating until I got rid of the donkeys. Now they're growing up. It's 3 feet. They're in the sun all day. They're loving it. But then I planted the same ones around the front of the house, which is literally shade. I don't think the thing ever sees the sun because when the sun finally gets over there, it's blocked by a forest of trees. So
Right.
ever sees the they're not even a half the size. They're about a fourth the size. So
Yeah.
sun and water, go figure, makes a difference when shit wants to grow.
Can you
I thought it
believe
was
it?
a scam. I thought it was a hoax.
It's fake news, man. That is not real.
It's crazy.
So tell me what you want to talk about. What are you
Yeah.
feeling?
Well, I was talking about plants. I heard you said you have 10 topics.
Here's what I started doing, Tom.
I'd be happy to criticize you on each one of them.
I would love that, because here's the thing. I love a good debate. I was the day, a day or two before each show, I would find things that I found interesting. And then I thought, why am I saving stuff? As I see stuff, I'm filling up the book, right?
Let's
So
go.
I was just on a roll. First of all, do you know what cuffing season, cuffing, Cuffing, is?
Cuffing season. Is it to do with dating?
Yes.
It's either the avoidance or the gathering of a mate. It's
Well,
like you don't want to go into the holiday season, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and Valentine's Day without or with. Is that anywhere close?
you're right, kind sir. It started in 2011. It became official. It became official in 2011 on Wikipedia. And then in 2013, it blew up. Everybody started talking about cuffing season because it is very much that men in particular don't want to be lonely during the cold seasons.
They don't. Men don't want to be.
Well, that's what I'm reading.
Yes, go on, please.
Yeah, that during it highlighted from October through Valentine's Day. Apparently, it's a good time to break up right before Valentine's Day because it's going to be spring and you got fresh meat coming around the corner. So, and guess why cuffing? Why is it called
Cuffing?
I had to look it up.
Handcuffed?
Yes, it's like about being handcuffed. It's a reference to being handcuffed to another person.
So men do or don't want to be cuffed around Thanksgiving.
Well,
You're saying for instead of buying a blanket,
they would like to be temporarily cuffed during cuffing season. It is not. What?
I don't want to be. Can I offer a contradictory point?
Yes.
Let's say I meet you on November 15th.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that means we're having Thanksgiving together at your mom's house. Now here comes Christmas. Am I buying you a bunch of expensive shit for Christmas? Because now we've been dating for 6 weeks.
Yes.
Now, good Lord, here comes New
Year's
Eve. We're got to go to a $500 a person event.
Right.
And I've only known you for a month and a half.
That's right.
Then I get to slide right through to Valentine's Day. I'll get a date of high expectations. You would think a man would avoid getting cuffed, going in that season.
According to what I'm reading and according to like all the online stuff, especially now, cuffing season has become a real thing because a lot of people are worried about the end of the world. They actually use that phrase, the end of the world. Things are feeling stressful right now. So whether you believe it's the end of the world or it's, scary, right? It's scary. So they say that coronavirus has changed. And so men are more likely to couple up, but also they say men and women are lowering their standards to find a partner now. They're lowering their standards. There's a thing I have to look up in the name. There's actually, dang it, I should have looked. Anyway, there's a name for people that help people date where they will write your profile, pick your pictures, tell you what to say to the other person. It's not a one-on-one service. It's someone that actually goes in and does all your stuff for you so you're still in the mix, but they tell you how to date and they set the dates up. They don't check with you. They just do everything and go, okay, you're going out with Tom on Saturday.
Wow.
Did you know that?
CyrilDeBergerac.com.
I mean, that would be a good name for it. I still say that you and I should do a dating app. I think it would be fantastic because I think we have very strong opinions, whether they're right or wrong. We have very strong opinions about this whole dating thing. But I thought it was interesting that they said people are lowering their standards because especially now, like you said, you don't want to date multiple people during a virus. You want to try to keep it, keep it low, right? So cupping has been a thing for a while, but now it's gone up and coffee meets bagel.
Okay. So how do women feel about cuffing season? You
Okay.
know, some guy just wants you for a 3 month trial.
Well, nobody wants anything. Well, I'm not going to say nobody. For the most part, I would think people don't want to be used for just a couple months and move on. I would think for the most part. I mean, you do hear a lot of men saying they don't care. I think everybody cares. The big picture is I think everybody cares. They say that to appear like they don't, so when
Right.
things go wrong,
Desperate. Yeah.
or you're doing it to save yourself, saying I don't care, that way you feel like it won't hurt as much. It hurts just as much if you say you don't care. No one likes to be rejected. So according to this, they said it on Coffee Meets Bagel, a third of the users, both male and female, would consider being in a monogamous relationship with someone exclusively, and consider it growing into a full-time relationship, as opposed to previously using someone during the winter and just seeing where it goes.
I mean, do people really do that purposely?
They do it. I wrote all about it.
But who does it? You'd be psychotic.
Well, here's what I'm wondering, and here's what the studies are saying. Because with the dating apps, this is actually funny. We have a higher sense of our dating ability because there's so many choices.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We have a higher sense of what our dating propensity is, right? Because we think, oh, well, there's hundreds of people. But in reality, no, right? Because just
Yeah.
because there's a lot of numbers there doesn't make it realistic. But they're saying that this cuffing season is like a known thing, that it's kind of traditional to get yourself a partner over those holidays, which I think I would want to do the opposite. I don't want to be bogged down with someone that I don't particularly love during those important.
Well, that's why I'm saying both you and I, that's not an appealing thing, that to drag somebody to your family affairs, your events, the pressure of buying presents,
Right?
you know. I mean,
Me-
I last year I started dating somebody early-ish in December, like the 6th,
Ooh, that's
10th,
a
like
risk.
that. Yeah, we didn't even think about that, but we kind of glided through all those events
That's hard.
somewhat seamlessly.
Yeah, no, that's really hard. It was very interesting to read this because all of the dating sites were saying dating online has gone up because your probability of meeting someone in person right now is low because of the way that the world is, so more people are, they said messages are up, messages back and forth that they track are up.
Really?
People are more apt to message more because they don't have the time to meet in person, because who wants to risk meeting someone in person during a virus?
Well, that's true, but you know what? It is true. It all depends upon your area as well. The virus is interesting. I mean, only 1% of the population is going to get it. It's a small
Who
That's
wants
a
to be
small
the
number,
one?
huh?
Who wants
I'm,
to be the one?
Nobody does, but I'm saying, I think everybody could, let's calm down a little bit.
Well, I think if
I can't be living at 9 all the time. I'd rather live at 4, but just be concerned. So, like, if I would meet somebody, would be 6 foot away, at least for a couple of dates, and if you've been dating somebody for 10 days and they haven't come down with a virus, you're probably
it's in your semen.
what?
Yeah, I tell you that? I read that earlier. It's in your semen.
Even if you're not, even if you've been through it.
No, I can't say that.
So
If
let's say I'm on April 1st, I've got the virus. Well, by April 15th, I've worked through it. If I'm healthy and I was asymptomatic.
well, you also know the other stuff about your semen, right? Is that
I know nothing about it.
is that this was a study that happened several years ago, that they have discovered when they're doing like autopsies and different things, that whoever you have sex with, the semen stays in your body for like the rest of your life. So you have everybody's DNA in your body, which also yes,
Go ahead.
which also biologically attaches yourself to that male. They've long said that women have a harder time
Right.
detaching because we have this
Yeah.
chemical
Not
thing.
all, but go on.
Like, one of my girlfriends says, don't have sex with me unless you want me to call you all the time, because it's happening.
Yeah. Well, I was told the same thing by a woman, and then 2 months later, we're no longer dating. Plus, they also said, here's an interesting little semen tidbit I didn't know I had until you started talking about it.
Yes.
And I just heard recently that if you want to get pregnant, okay, you and your husband would like to get pregnant, that it's a good idea for you to ingest his semen in order to create a more a higher probability of becoming pregnant because your body will become acclimated to his DNA.
Which men's study created this?
7 guys in a New York loft came up
You,
with this.
you, men also like to say it's good for your skin.
I'm saying a woman, as a matter of fact, reported this.
Who is this woman? Does she have a medical degree?
She was a news reporter.
I have to fight back on that one. I have a hard time believing. I think it's another sick way to convince us that everything about the penis is the world's delight. That if we would just all focus on the penis at all times, of course,
I'm
injustice.
just passing along a little. You're talking about the negative DNA implications of a lifetime of dragging this guy you had an affair with when you were 17. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
they've also had this other study that said if you want to have a viable, higher opportunity to have a viable pregnancy, then you. And now I don't know what the difference would be between ingesting it orally or taking it vaginally would be.
Right.
You think your body would absorb it in a similar fashion? But what the hell do I know? I'm just saying what she said.
Well, I'm thinking it would affect you mentally, um, as well. Again, it's hilarious to me and interesting because you don't hear that if you flip it. You know what I mean? Like if you tell the guys, you know what, if you really want to have a connection, a real spiritual bond, you just got to go down on your lady all the time. Because if you do that, you will ingest the vaginal fluids and you'll feel a better connection.
I think you guys should get a little cash together for a study.
You know what? I think I'm going to. I think I have to create a study.
You're still angry from last week.
I'm still angry. I actually highlighted our post about being on the table because I was just livid that men, I forget that men have no concept of what it's like to go in that cold room.
Did you know you doubled our viewership?
That's right.
With that last episode, double the viewership.
You got to talk about the vagina. Men want to know stuff. And here's the thing. Men are visual.
We went from 4 to 8.
But here's the thing. I told a story once about, I grew up in the era where you all had to take gym class in school. Did you have to take gym class? It was required.
I loved it. I took gym and I loved it.
But here's what happened. I went to high school in the Midwest, and in our gym class, you were required. It was mandatory. You had a little PE jumper, like the girls had a little jumper that they had to wear, so everybody looked the same. After PE, it was required to take a shower. You were not allowed. And here's how they made you take a shower. You're going to like this because when I shared this story with another guy, he said, talk slower. I'm staying with the story. I'm telling you how horrifying it is. We had to take gym class, and then the other part of the year.
Can I say something? My story will top yours. Go on.
Doubt it.
I doubt it.
Doubt it. Here's my story that's true. The female PE teacher required us to strip down. We had to strip down in front of her before we could
walk. One at a time?
Yes. So she could check us off to prove that we took. Tell me what kind of masochistic bullshit that is. We had to walk in front of her naked to the shower.
Wait a minute. So you're saying you had to walk in front of her and strip in front of her one at a time? Not just everybody gets stripped by their lockers and she's going to check you out as you parade by.
You strip at your locker. She stands by the showers.
All right. Now it's a little bit different.
Is it?
Yeah. Having an adult stand in front of a 12-year-old while she forces her to stand and strip in front of her is different than the 12-year-old getting undressed by the locker and then walking by. It's horrific, but it's different.
I'll try to tell my 16-year-old self to feel better about it because you're quickly undressing at your locker, praying to God you can just, not walk by the pocket.
Okay, it's horrific.
It's horrific that they made, and she would look you in the eye and, check you off. And I just remember thinking, this is one of the worst fucking things. Like, who is this person that
how come we're not this interested in English class? that the teacher's not standing outside the door as they're walking in, checking you out, up and down, up, check you out, up and
This is
down.
high school. Who gives a shit if you take a shower? You know what I mean? I thought it was horrific.
Oh, no doubt about it.
In swim class, she stood in the shower. As soon as you left the pool, you had to take your suit off and walk in the shower and face her. Fuck
That's
all
ridiculous.
people.
That's ridiculous. That's
What?
absolutely
Tell me
ridiculous.
your horror story.
St. Patrick's High School, 1972, 1976.
Okay.
Brother Boyle, the requirement was for swim class, which you took opposite of gym class. Swim
Yeah.
class was never a bathing suit, totally nude, the entire 45-minute class, even on the backstroke.
Even the girls?
I was St. Patrick's all boys school. God,
Oh,
wouldn't
sorry,
that been
sorry,
that would have
sorry.
been crazy.
Sorry.
Sorry, I should have lived with that.
Sorry, a boys' school. Okay.
All boys Christian
Oh,
Brothers school.
don't you tell me that those guys weren't molesting little kids.
Well, I don't know. I never heard not one story about anybody getting molested, but there was definitely, it was like, for some of them, oh, I'm the swim coach this year. I'm going to try not to get too excited.
Okay, yours is
No
up there.
suits ever. We had guys pooping in the pool.
Well, okay, why? What's the rationale for no suits? I would,
Because you know what? We're sick and tired of your excuses. You can't go swimming because you don't have a suit.
they
We're
can't
done
supply
with this.
them.
Huh?
Our school supplied the suits.
Well, ours is a private Christian Brothers school. Yeah, of course it would have been nice to have 12 suits on the side just in case some kid doesn't say have a suit.
Don't tell me you guys weren't shaming each other because that's what boys do.
Oh my God, I was as bald as a newborn baby down there.
So terrible. That's so terrible.
But you know what's funny? Here's the deal. I had two brothers who went to that school, biological brothers. My brother Michael and my brother Bernie went to that same school before I did. I mean, Mike graduated in 69, Bernie in 670, right?
Okay.
So I knew all the stories. I knew what I was expecting. It wasn't like I just walked in there and said, well, we got to do what? I was like, yeah, and what else?
But it doesn't make it right. I came.
No, it doesn't make it right because we're trained like frogs. This is it's an insane precept, and we're gonna do it anyway because everybody's done it. All your brothers did before you, and who knows when they pulled the plug on this nonsense. 1987. Someone said, you know what, this is really not a good idea.
It's crazy that when I went to high school, they still paddled people.
I mean, could you imagine you're doing the backstroke and you get a boner?
I can't imagine getting a boner.
Think about it. Think about Melinda.
Think
37 16-year-old boys on their backs. Everybody's getting a boner. Think about it.
You have to drown. You just have to drown. What else can you do?
I did learn you don't want to do a flip off the board. Ouch. That was the first thing I did.
I hate that we were, it's interesting during that era how I didn't try to start a boycott or I hated it. I was very angry about it, but I never considered I had any power to change it.
So whose story was more horrific?
Yours is pretty fucking bad. I didn't see that coming, and I will give you.
What Brother Boyle. That's what Brother Boyle said.
But here's the thing: did you personally feel ashamed or embarrassed?
No, we were all in this shit together.
Yeah. As a female, I just want to remind you, we have top and bottom to cover. It's not just one.
Oh no! It's horrible. It's much more horrific for a woman because the guy doesn't give a shit.
And we have all different size.
Yeah, well, believe me, this is the first time you get this, and men are, but let me just tell you, I was not impressive. I was at my 16th, on my driver's license, 5'6", 135. I was not. How tall and how heavy are you?
Right now, currently?
Yeah. Well, just how tall are you?
I'm 5'4".
Okay, 5'6". I'm 2 inches taller, and I'm 135. That's me as a 16-year-old boy. So I'm kind of like looking like you.
Yeah, no, you were tiny. When I was in high school, I was 5'4", obviously, and
Nothing's obvious. Why would anybody say anything's obvious?
Well, sorry.
Sorry, I was triggered.
I was 5'4" in high school,
and I say that all the time. Well, that's you're telling a story. I don't know your history.
Well, I guess I did it based on the fact that typically you're done.
I concur. I was wrong. I'm wrong. You're right.
Typically, you're done growing.
Somewhat
at that age.
Yeah.
But I was barely 100 pounds, so I can imagine 130 as a dude is very thin. Very thin.
Nothing.
Yeah. So those visuals are all terrible. So
You don't want to think about 30 to 16-year-old kids on their back doing the backstroke
I don't. I
with a
really
boner.
don't.
You don't want
Like
to
the
think about
world's not difficult enough that I got to have that visual in my head. And I want my story to be worse. I want more credit. It is terrible. And I don't understand why a school would have you guys do that naked, because that's such a vulnerable thing. And
It's
it
so
seems
ridiculous. It was embarrassing
anti.
enough to take a shower when I'm in the 7th grade basketball team, and you got the Italian boys that there were, the hair all over the place. I'm look like a shaved potato.
I mean, what kind of a creeper says, you know what? And they're going to do this naked? Maybe. No. Hate it, hate it, hate it.
So did anybody complain to anybody in your situation?
Oh, some girls cried. Some girls tried to get out for, other reasons. A lot of us would say we had our period and couldn't swim. And here's what they would say. Oh, it's okay, because when you get in the water, your period stops. Oh, so the shame continues. We hope we're not going to bleed in the pool. No, they made us still swim with our period. People did not give a shit about girls and women. We were
Make America great again. Let's bring back the good old days.
It was so terrible. Well, that was super fun to talk about our high school shame. Do you have something you would like to discuss?
No, I want to do your topics today.
Okay, you pick one of these. Ready? Wearing pants, mental challenge, giving up, what are you watching? My people. Oh, and big fuckable.
Wow. Let's do mental challenge.
Mental challenge. Okay. I like this one. This is a good one. This came up on something that I saw on Instagram. I'm a huge fan of Instagram, and I'm a huge fan of phrases and words. And someone had posted, how much time do you spend being physically attractive versus mentally attractive?
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah, it's hard to see how mentally attractive people are, but after 20 minutes, you probably pretty much know what your answer is.
I liked that one a lot, because I know you like the mind stuff. You're clever, but not everybody is that way. How many times have you gone on a date and you're like, oh, there's nothing there?
Yeah.
But how much time do you spend trying to be mentally attractive?
Well, I think you try to be mentally attractive just by being aware and curious in your regular day, because you absorb little bits and drops of information.
You think everybody does that?
Probably not. But I mean, everybody thinks that nobody ever thinks that they're small-minded. Nobody ever thinks that they're, done learning. Everybody thinks that they're, positive and open-minded and aware of my, surroundings. I mean, just look at Facebook, how, people are so convinced that their side is right.
Yeah.
Even both sides.
True.
I mean, I always try to do a little mental experiment of what if I was on the other side? What would I say? Right?
Yeah.
And then I go back on my side.
But do you feel like you go out of your way to work on your mental abilities so you are more attractive mentally? I know you used to do that thing online. I forget what it's called, where you do all the tests to see if you can keep your mind going. I forget.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, and I was also playing Words with Friends a lot up until just a month ago. Yeah, I think that's important to do some mental gymnastics. I think writing or even doing comedy or whatever you think.
Yes.
I think that works. Keep your mind spry. I mean, you read like crazy. I mean, that's wonderful.
I do. I feel like that's my main thing that keeps me. It teaches me how other people live and other thought processes. That's my favorite thing about reading, is I've learned so much about the world that I would have never learned otherwise. Even as much as I travel, getting inside someone's head and reading about other culture is so mind-opening, and it teaches you to be, I think, more caring towards other cultures that maybe you would not be so caring towards.
If you can't travel, read.
If you can't travel, read. Speaking of reading, the new Humans of New York has come out. I'm so excited. I pre-ordered it. Have you read any of the books from Humans of New York?
No, ma'am.
So I love this guy so much. He was living in Chicago. Brandon, he moved to New York and he started a page called Humans of New York. And what he started doing was walking around New York City and taking pictures of people and finding out what their story was. And it
Huh.
became so wildly popular that then he went around the world and started talking to people around the world. And I believe this is the copy where he's gone around the world and he lists all the countries here that he went to,
Wow.
because he's learned that people's stories really are intriguing and we do want to learn about other people. So I really recommend it on social media, on Facebook and on Instagram. Brandon has, it starts out
We're
with
not here advertising things, hon.
I know, but I just love humans. Humans are interesting. And then his girlfriend does Susie's senior dogs. She started a whole page about people that couldn't keep their senior dogs, so she readopts senior dogs. How great is this couple?
Wow.
So another funny backstory. So I've loved Brandon since before I moved to New York. And then I started following her because I thought, what a cool couple, right? They're doing like cool things that are making the world better. My daughter and I were in the Container Store, and I think I'm easily starstruck. She is not. And we saw them in the Container Store in Manhattan.
No way.
Brandon and his girlfriend. So we act like a couple of little kids, and she's like, should we talk to them? I want to talk. The girl had a dog with her, and I said, I'm doing it, man. I'm not losing this opportunity. Went right up and said, excuse me, Humans of New York, love your work. I said, you kind of helped guide me to move to New York. You made New York so fascinating. My daughter came and talked. They were lovely, lovely people. My dream was to one day be in one of his books, because I think I have a pretty interesting story. I moved here over 50 with no job, which is, stupid or brave.
No.
And so talking to them even sealed the deal for me. Have you ever met someone in person? You're like, well, that's a shame. They're really not as cool as I thought they were.
Yeah, Frank Gorshin.
Who's that? Is that a real person?
He was the Riddler on Batman in the TV show.
Did you really meet him?
Yeah, Home Shopping had a parade of people in the late 80s that were like B-rated, stars that were in the 60s and 70s.
What happened?
Oh, these guys would come rolling in, either drunk or super horny, and they're trying to, I mean, the Jesse White, the Maytag repairman, he wouldn't stop hitting on the 23-year-old coordinators.
I hate that.
There you go.
I met so many cool people at HSN, but there were a couple that were.
Oh, you had some great people there.
Mickey Dolan
Connie,
was so cool. Did you
I
meet
never
Mickey
met Mickey.
Dolan?
Connie Stevens is great.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Florence Henderson.
what's that?
Florence Henderson, super cool.
Oh, I bet she'd be great.
Cusses like a truck driver.
Who was in the movies with Annette Funicello and
Oh, Frankie Valli.
Frankie Avalon?
Sorry.
Frankie Avalon was great.
Yeah.
Frankie and Connie around the holiday season would grab, I mean, I was in an interesting position where I was a host or I was in management. So I was up high enough where, there's 35 of us. Take us all out to dinner, anything you want, it was there. I played golf with Frankie Avalon, and his agent was just us three.
Oh my gosh. I love that so much. You know who also was so cool? I did a lot of shows before. They used me for a lot of filler stuff. I would sell like leftover, products, whatever. Susan Lucci, the most adorable, tiniest human being I've ever seen in my life. She was on set one day and I was selling stuff and she was watching me, which of course is just thrilling because it's Susan Lucci. She came up to me afterwards and she talks very softly like this. And she was doing this and she had the tiniest wrist. I remember looking at her wrist thinking, you're just a fragile little bird. And she said, oh, you're so lovely, like that, like just so, and it was such a big deal. So then I found out afterwards, she had done a really great show. She sold a lot of things at HSN, right?
She sold like exercise equipment, right? Like a chair.
Yes. And did she also do skincare, I wonder?
I don't recall, Your Honor. I do know that she was doing an exercise.
I don't remember. Anyway, lovely human being. Her husband was always with her. They told me later, the production team, they were around celebrating. She had a really good show. And someone said, let's go out. Let's go somewhere. And someone on the production team said, how about Applebee's? And sweet Susan Lucci said, That
I'd rather
sounds
get
lovely.
poked in the eye
No,
or an
she said,
all.
that sounds lovely. What is this Applebee? Susan
What
Lucci.
is this Applebee's you speak of?
How cute is that? I loved her. Loved her. Yeah, there are plenty of, yeah, really creepers. But to go back to Brandon and his girlfriend, lovely human beings. It is still my goal. It's my goal to be in Humans of New York. It's also my goal to do a TED Talk.
There you
Um,
go.
those, those are things I want to do.
I think you can buy your way onto a TED Talk, can't
I
you?
don't want to buy my way.
I understand that, but I'm saying it's become a franchise.
Yeah, I want to be asked.
All right,
So
we got time for one more topic, dear.
what do you want to talk about?
What was the one you said? There was an interesting one at the end.
Being fuckable?
Let's
What are you watching? Giving up?
let's
Oh,
do be fuckable. Let's do that with the F word.
let's do be fuckable. We all know what that means. And I could go on my tirade about why is everything
Or
about
anger.
ah!
You're gonna turn into Lewis Black. Here she goes.
um here's the reason I wrote this down, and I was hoping you and I would talk about this, about being fuckable. So I generally, when I post on my Facebook, because it is my friends, I generally just keep it to my friends. If it's a bigger wide range topic, I'll make it public, right? Because I don't mind a little banter with the public.
With the
So
unwashed masses.
and so I had posted something about the LGBT community and about adoption, because those things are coming up now, and they're trying to take away rights. So I posted this lovely story about this gay couple and how they had adopted children successfully. So that's what the topic was. Within a couple minutes, I got a notification that some man had responded that I didn't know his name. So I thought, oh, this is going to be an interesting debate about the topic that I posted. Because wouldn't you think that the debate would be about the topic that you posted? No.
Logic would dictate.
So here's what happened. This fella wrote, "Hey, Melinda, I love you in that yellow dress," which is my profile picture. "It's such a great yellow dress. Why don't you come to Florida and we can get married and you can wear that yellow dress?" Now, here's my point with all of it. I believe in my heart of hearts that men think that's very flattering, that you jump on my page and you tell me how great I look in my dress. But I need to be very clear for all of womankind here. I didn't wear that yellow dress so I could be fuckable. I didn't wear that yellow dress so you could tell me I look pretty in it. I wore that yellow dress because it made me happy. And it was a funny moment. I was kind of mocking the Emmys and I had a lot of fun with it. And it really upset me that I posted a very important topic, and this stranger who had a great opportunity to address the topic thought he was being cute and adorable by telling me how he wanted to marry me in the yellow dress. If I don't know you, it's not funny to me, because you could be a total fucking creep. If you're a funny, cool guy, you probably should have came in the door another way.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Okay.
100%. If you like the lady in the yellow dress, why not start off by talking about what she wants to talk about, and then maybe work your way into being charming in another way, right?
I think the misconception of women, of us taking care of ourselves, is we're hoping we're fuckable to you guys. We're hoping if we're fuckable, then other things can happen in our life. And even at this age in my life,
Right.
I find it disconcerting that men are still trying to play that game with me. Like, at what point am I a person?
A lot of times it's just the internet numbers game. It's ridiculous. I'm going to be an asshole and see if it works, because I don't risk anything.
It makes me super sad, because there are so
Yeah.
many great opportunities to get to know people. And it just fell into that whole fuckable category of like, wow.
Now, he may be funny and clever. That might be a funny thing to say to someone, propose marriage just based on a dress. I mean, that's not creepy on itself,
No.
but maybe that's the sixth sentence he says. Because I've also made that same mistake. I'd be on on a dating app, and I would get, oh, I swiped right, and then she swiped right, and I'd go into some nonsense. Nothing sexual, just like,
Okay.
just kind of an interesting thing. Like, oh, I see you got that, uh, that stuffed monkey in the background. I like stuffed monkeys too. They don't eat bananas. It's like, and anybody reading that without any context, this guy's nuts,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not
right?
trying. Here's the thing. It. I bet some people are hearing this, and when I say people, I mean men. And I'm not opposed to
Wow.
men, but it makes me a bitch for going. Oh, you don't want to be pretty? You don't want someone to think you're pretty in your
I
yellow dress?
know. There's just a way to approach somebody, and it makes all the difference in the world.
You can't come at me with that. And I'm gonna step
Right.
back.
I'm a serious person. I posted a serious topic that is worth discussing, and you're going to come at me, diminish me by looking at me and judging me by my looks, or you can make an approach versus looks, not talk about the topic at all.
If I made it public with me in the dress and said, "What do you think?"
Right.
Oh, different game.
Yeah, I know.
Different game. So,
And yeah.
it's unfortunate because it seems like no matter what your age is, there's still always this sexuality.
Well, of course. I mean, imagine, a 37-year-old woman walking into a doctor's office and she's a medical rep. She's selling, whatever, syringes. And she gets an audience with the doctor. He's like, hey, that dress really looks nice on you. It's like, are we gonna have to start off in that? I want to talk,
Yeah.
price volume in delivery.
Yeah. So, and remind me, so when we talk on Wednesday, I want to go into the whole topic about
Yeah.
I want to talk about wearing pants. That's a whole other thing. Pants wearing between men and women.
All right. Well, that's a preview for Wednesday.
A
Even though
preview for Wednesday.
you thought it was Wednesday already.
I really did. I'm sorry. It was a long weekend.
I forgive you.
Thank you.
I got to get this bad boy outside. She is thirsty.
Did you name her?
No, but they're all clearly it's woman.
Clearly, she's gorgeous.
She's got a yellow dress on. Hey, baby. Want to get married? And my name's Tom Wise. I hope you enjoyed the show.
Yes, thank you. And I'm Melinda McKinsey. We appreciate you.
All right. And then, don't forget to share, for gosh sakes. Some of you haven't been sharing. You know
Share,
who you
guys.
are. And we should be on iTunes hopefully by the end of the week.